Hi, I'm Luke Lavin. I serve as the Director of Campus Ministry here at Gonzaga University, and I want to share some reflections with you as we think and go through this transition of Holy Week after this pandemic experience. For me, growing up in Bremerton, Washington, at our home parish of Our Lady Star of the Sea, there was a connection between the discipline of giving up candy as a young child and the joy of Easter as a celebration of sweets supreme. Often, when I would lead up to the altar serving of Holy Thursday, the tradition in our house was to provide new socks and foot washing as all the altar servers would be lined up, and the family security of making sure that us boys' feet were ready and prepared to be washed. Becoming a teenager, I can remember distinctively the sweat as it poured down our parish priest's forehead as he lifted the cross as it processed through the Good Friday procession. I remember taking naps on Holy Saturday afternoons in preparation for the long evening of celebration and waiting, the dark illumination through the candles as we went through the tradition of 8 readings leading to the culmination of the Gospels. The honor as an MC acolyte at 18 at standing at the back of the church and preparing the bonfire for the illumination of the church. And above all, the smell of lilies at Easter and the joy of new life and resurrection. I'd attended Holy Week all 33 years of my life leading up to 2020 and the pandemic that we've all lived through. I'd done the Triduum in 3 countries and 4 languages. I'd never missed a Triduum in my whole life. The reality and the pain of witnessing Good Friday, that 2020 pandemic quarantine at home, my family and I headed to Cannon Hill Park in the afternoon to reflect and pray in the only way available to us. At the time, I was reading the novel The Overstory by Richard Powers. This is a story of trees and the role they play in sustaining life, even in their death, the way that dead trees can communicate to other trees the abundance of life within their soil and rejuvenation. I spent that Good Friday under a tree in a hammock, looking up, and an insight occurred to me that it was Jesus on Good Friday who had spent his last moments, his last minute of prayer in his existence with a tree, and on a tree remaining as his closest companion at his death. That was my first year ever with no Triduum, no ritual, and the suspension of this component of ritualistic prayer and Eucharist in my life, that this insight emerged in me that despite no Mass going on that year, the narrative of resurrection was sweeping through nature itself. In his famous work on transitions, William Bridges highlights the 3 stages of change we go through: endings, neutral zones, and eventually new beginnings. His work has significant meaning for all of us as the pandemic has forced us to end so much, to live in the unknown and adapt new rhythms and new routines, some life-giving and some challenging. Bridges urges each person and community to understand that each stage must be read and reread and experienced with deep passion, and also the importance to not skip through the pain or the sorrow of what a transition entails, which brings us to the reality of the Triduum and the highlights and the high lows of Good Friday leading into Easter. The gift, as we wash our feet and clip our nails, approach a cross for a kiss, and build up fires to keep the darkness at bay, this Triduum is to become fully present to the transition known as the Paschal Mystery in our midst. Perhaps you can do this safely again in your place of worship. or perhaps for a host of reasons, you must still witness this in a new context or a new place. Wherever you are as you enter into this Triduum, realize that as we enter into each stage, whether that's with abundance or in waiting, the Easter sun rises, the new life emerges out of death, and the risen Christ meets the new dew of a spring morning. And we rejoice, Alleluia, Alleluia.